From office boy to sugar king, the astonishing story of Robert Kuok. It is the silence of night. An old man, whose age has now gone well beyond 100 years, is perhaps sitting in a quiet room far away from the noise of the world. From the outside, it may seem like this is just another rich businessman's story. But the fear begins here, that many of the world's biggest empires were not always built from big offices, big degrees, and big families. Many times, the beginning is so small that people do not even take it seriously. And this is where curiosity is born. How did a man who started life from the bottom, who saw war, loss, collapsing businesses, and an uncertain future, go on to become Asia's sugar king? How did a small loan, an ordinary beginning, and decisions taken at the right time lift him to such heights that even today the world considers him the richest man in Malaysia? Robert Kuok's story is special, not because he became very rich. His story is special because he did not just make money, he built such a habit of identifying opportunities that every crisis became the next step of expansion for him. According to Forbes 2026 Malaysia's 50 richest list, Robert Kuok is once again the richest person in Malaysia with a net worth of around $13.6 billion. He is 102 years old, and even at such an advanced age, his name is taken in the business world with the same respect with which an old but still unbreakable pillar is spoken of. Robert Kuok was born on the 6th of October 1923 in Johor Bahru, at a time when the area was part of British Malaya. His family was of Chinese origin, and his father was involved in the rice trade. From the outside, the family looked settled, but time does not remain the same forever. World War II and the economic turmoil that followed shook his home as well, just like countless families across Southeast Asia. In such times, children grow up quickly. Robert Kuok too quickly understood that life does not run on inheritance alone. It also has to be protected and then expanded. There are slight differences across sources regarding his early job, but broadly the same picture emerges. That during the Japanese occupation, he started working from a very low position with Mitsubishi. In some places, he is described as an office boy, in some as a clerk, and in some descriptions as a trading assistant. But the real thing is not the designation, it is the learning. From there, he observed how commodity trade works, how big the game of supply, stock, demand, and timing really is. That same early exposure later became the foundation of his entire business empire. So if someone ends his story just by saying from office boy to billionaire, then that person misses the biggest part of the story. Robert Kuok may have started low, but he had begun understanding the language of the top very early. In 1948, his father passed away, and after that, life gave him no time to think, only time to act. The very next year, in 1949, he started Kuok Brothers along with his brothers and cousins. The early business was in agricultural commodities, essential things like rice, sugar, and wheat flour. This was the period when he started trading on a very small level, but his eyes were always fixed on the larger direction of the market. Many accounts also mention that, to manage and expand the business, he received a loan of around $3,000 from the Johor royal family. The amount was small, but the vision was not. That is the difference between an ordinary trader and a future tycoon. Many people work hard in business, but not everyone becomes a king. The thing that made Robert Kuok the sugar king was not just his work, but his timing. In the 1950 and 1960, he built such an edge in the sugar trade that others did not have. In 1959, he laid the foundation of Malayan sugar manufacturing, which is considered Malaysia's first sugar refinery. From there, sugar stopped being just a commodity and became a gateway to power, control, and scale for him. He combined his understanding of government, investors, industry contacts, and international trade all at once. This was the very ability that later took him several steps ahead of other businessmen. The real turning point in the story came when he began looking at the sugar market not just through the lens of local demand, but through the game of global pricing. Robert Kuok understood that in the commodity business, the real money is not made just in selling, but in buying at the right time. According to many business accounts, he took advantage of global sugar price movements and gained huge control by buying cheap raw sugar and then refining and distributing it. Slowly, his grip over Malaysia's sugar market became so strong that people began calling him the Sugar King of Asia. This was not a marketing slogan, but an earned title that came from market dominance. One thing here is very interesting. Many people, after becoming successful in one sector, stay comfortably seated in that very sector. Robert Kuok did not do that. He earned money from sugar, but did not let his identity remain limited only to sugar. He understood that if wealth had to be turned into an empire, it had to stand on several strong pillars. That is why his business expanded from commodities into shipping, logistics, property, hospitality, and agribusiness. In other words, he did not just take a share in the market, he created his presence across many essential veins of the economy. In 1971, he opened the first Shangri-La hotel in Singapore. At that time, very few people must have imagined that this name would go on to become such a major symbol in the world of global luxury hospitality. Today, according to Shangri-La's official website, the group has more than 100 hotels spread across more than 22 countries, regions, and 76 destinations. A man who had started from the trading floor eventually built a brand in hospitality that became a symbol of luxury, elegance, and Asian warmth. Only that businessman can do this who knows how to build not just a product, but perception as well. Shangri-La's success also shows that Robert Kuok was not just an opportunistic trader, but also a long-term brand builder.
In the commodity business, margins, government policy, and prices can change rapidly. But in hospitality, goodwill, experience, and brand memory are created. Kuok understood both worlds. On one side, fast-moving trade, on the other side, legacy-based luxury business. This balance makes his empire even more special. He did not remain just a man who made money. He became a man who created value. A kind of value that is visible not only in the balance sheet, but also in brand recall. Then came the big expansion into agribusiness. Kuok Group later emerged as a key shareholder in Wilmar International. And according to the company's official history, Wilmar is today one of the world's largest agribusiness groups. Kuok Group's earlier interests in edible oils, grain, and plantations became part of this bigger network. This means Robert Kuok left a deep impact, not only in sugar, but also in the broader food and commodities chain, where an ordinary person sees only packed oil or a food product on a grocery shelf. Behind it works a vast world of global sourcing, refining, trading, transport, and processing. Robert Kuok became one of the master players of that invisible world. His expansion through 𝐼RE Group in Hong Kong was also very important. 𝐼RE built a separate identity in property, logistics, warehousing, and cross-border business. Not only this, in 1993, his group company also bought a controlling stake in the South China Morning Post. This one move made it clear that Robert Kuok was not limited only to factories, ships, and hotels. He also understood influence, information, and regional relevance. Like any great tycoon, he built not just products, but platforms as well. But the impact of any big story becomes truly deep only when it contains not just success, but discipline too. In Robert Kuok's biography and the reviews written about him, one thing comes up again and again, that he stayed away from a flashy style. He focused more on building a sustainable structure than on creating a loud image. This is exactly the opposite of today's social media business culture. Today, people first build an image and then look for a business. Kuok built the business first, and the image kept building on its own. That is why his story feels motivational, but not filmy. It has glamour, but not artificiality. Another major lesson from Robert Kuok's life is that the skills learned in difficult times are often the most valuable. The job during the Japanese occupation, the pressure of the family business, lack of capital, post-war uncertainty, all these could have broken someone. But Kuok learned three things from these very conditions: how to read the market, how to value relationships, and how to prepare before opportunities arrive. That is why the small loan did not become a small limit for him. It became a first lever with which he began lifting his future. Many people see a loan as a burden. A few rare people turn it into a launchpad. Kuok was in the second category. Today, when people look at his $13.6 billion net worth, they are seeing the last part of the story. But the real strength was in the first part. It was in that boy who was learning even from the lowest work. It was in that young man who did not let family setbacks become his end. It was in that trader who saw the commodity market not just as a place of buying and selling, but as a chessboard of strategy. And it was in that builder who understood that if an empire had to last long, it had to put down roots in many industries. There is also an emotional irony in his story. The world calls him the Sugar King, but his real strength was not just sugar. His real strength was judgment. When to stop, when to expand, which sector to enter, which brand to turn into a long-distance horse. Not everyone has that understanding. That is why Robert Kuok's story is less a story of making money and more a story of clarity. It tells us that in business, the biggest difference is often made not by resources, but by decisions. It is said that he stepped back from day-to-day management in 1990, but the empire kept moving forward through his family and professional structure. This means one thing clearly. He did not just create wealth, he also prepared the ground for succession. A businessman is called truly great only when his system continues to run even after him. Kuok proved that too. Today, his daughter Kuok Malaysia and family-linked leadership are visible in businesses like Shangri-La. That means this empire did not remain founder-dependent, but turned into an institution. And perhaps that is why, even at the age of 102, Robert Kuok's name is taken not like that of a closed chapter, but like that of a living legend. The world changed, currencies changed, markets became global, the digital age arrived, but Robert Kuok's story is still relevant. Because technology changes, industries change, but some principles do not change. Timing, patience, discipline, diversification, and quiet confidence.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.